No. Come on, where is it?
Dave, it's your Idaho Central app here. Any chance you're missing a debit card? Let's get that taken care of for you. With ICCU's card control, you can turn any card off with the tap of your finger.
You got it.
And back on again. Out, 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 out. The closest Idaho Central Credit Union branch is in your pocket.
It's the fall kickoff sale at Lithia Ford of Boise. We're going all the way so you can score more for your trade-in and trade up to a new Ford truck or SUV today. Visit Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho.
It's time for the Riley and Ridge Show, presented by Jackson's on Bronco Nation News. The Riley and Ridge Show takes you into the locker room and the coach's office, giving you a unique perspective on Boise State football from two guys who know a thing or two about what it takes to win on the blue. Combined, they have nearly 3 decades of coaching experience, none of which came from Riley Smith. But he played for the Broncos and won 52 games and 2 Mountain West championships during his 6 years. Kent Riddle won 7 conference championships during his 13 years as an assistant coach at Boise State and has 29 years of coaching experience overall. The Riley and Ridge Show is presented by Jackson's, where 25 cents from each hot dog sold goes directly to the Horseshoe Collective to support Boise State student athletes. Visit a Treasure Valley Jackson's location today. Now, here's Riley Smith and Kent Riddle for another edition of the Riley and Ridge Show, presented by Jackson's on Bronco Nation News.
What's up, Bronco Nation? Welcome back to another episode of the Riley and Ridge Show, sponsored by Jackson's. We're out here at the James again, and we got another 2 great special guests. We got former Boise State linebacker David Shields and tailback.
Come on.
Never know.
Add it to the list.
One of the few
Add it to the
two-way
list.
players.
There we go. He's the
Recruited as a
first
lot of
Travis
things
Hunter.
originally.
First Travis Hunter. That was you. Come on. And then we got former Boise State tight end Derek Schouman. Welcome, guys. We appreciate you.
Hey,
guys
thank you
coming
guys
on.
for having us. Absolutely, man.
Got some good fans out here. We got Coach Shu's wife
Oh yeah.
out here.
Living the James, love you, babe.
Kate out here hanging with us. Yeah, you've got some big news coming, huh? I think one of the first things, both these guys, you have a newborn and you're about to have a newborn.
Hit
So-
that hard reset button.
Babies, babies,
Yeah.
like going to the Nintendo and just hitting the reset button. Accidentally, like, we're ready to go. Ready to go.
So we're fired up, both these guys, with all the things going on in their lives. We're able to make it out here tonight, spend a little time with us, talking some Bronco football. Which, first thing, BJ just played that video of the crowd. I know both you guys have been to the games this year. Like, what do you guys got to say about that?
Shoot, it was electric. We went to that night game, and yeah, it was just cool to see all the changes they made. And I mean, Bronco Nation has always showed up. It's awesome. You guys hear me? Bronco Nation showed up.
Yeah, it was loud. I mean, the stadium, you can see the lights on now. No light show. We might have to work with JD and see if, like,
Oh,
when we
yeah.
turn this up, maybe they can give us a light show.
Little
over there or
backdrop.
something.
That'd be smooth.
I think yesterday, last week's game was absolutely wild.
No.
I mean, in addition to setting the attendance record, I remember we have a little tailgate over here by the little white church, and I remember looking at that
And
one
by
point.
little tailgate,
The tailgate.
I mean, I thought it was a nightclub at one point. I looked up and there was probably like 250 people at the tailgate, and I was just like, "What is going on here?" We ran out of food. We ran out of booze. We ran out of.
You gotta start charging cover.
We literally
Get some money.
ran out
Hey,
of
Dave,
everything.
have you ever had like a party where you charge covers?
Never. Except when I was in
Somebody
college.
get Coach Pete on the phone. Let's check that.
Those were the good,
the
the good
entrepreneur.
old days. But yeah, last week's game, I looked at it and I've had so many people literally reach out to me and say that was the most electric game
Yeah.
that they've ever been to, with all the new LED lights that's going
Oh, yeah.
on, all the new additions that they're making. I mean, it's just turned into a show now.
No
And
doubt.
The fact that
I've had
we're-
guys that I went to high school and college with, like, hey, what an awesome atmosphere. I'm like, yeah, no doubt. I mean, how about, that was one of JD's big deal, like the game day experience and
oh yeah.
making it real. I mean, I can't imagine a whole bunch of places. And I've been in the stadium at Alabama, LSU. Other than the sheer number of people,
Mhm.
that rivals everything
Oh,
I've seen at those
Yeah.
places.
My brother got a visit this weekend. He goes to University of Florida,
Yeah.
so he's out in the swamp, and he was talking big game. Like, we grew up
Oh,
going to
yeah.
those, and he was like, that was my favorite game I've ever been to.
Ever.
Like-
You know things are changing when the amount of phone calls I got, like, "Hey, can you give me tickets?" And I'm like, "Nope, God." Tickets that's not a thing anymore.
No, it's not. It's not.
Yeah, for a while it was never an issue, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
they
yeah,
just
yeah.
Never.
showed up like, hey, I got like, you got somebody you can give these to. Now it's
Yeah, you know,
So we
changing a lot.
thankful to people like Jackson's and some of them for selling out the stadium and providing such a great atmosphere and all that stuff. But
Especially the Bronco
Yeah.
Nation showing up.
Oh, my
they
goodness.
showed up big time.
Big time.
It did not feel like a Boise State tailgate. That last tailgate, it didn't feel like a Boise State game like the normal over the last 2
Yeah.
years or so.
no,
I mean, it was popping.
It was
yeah,
fun.
and I would expect the same to hold true this week. Obviously, 5:00 game, so a little bit earlier. Tailgates will get cranking a little bit earlier, but the game will get going a little bit over sooner.
Yeah.
We can come back here to the James for the post game show, and
You can
Were
get
you-
to bed before midnight. For sure.
Eh,
Dave, you're not going to bed before midnight. Shu, you
Yeah.
might.
Yeah, for sure. 9 o'clock, lights out. I'm old, man.
Well, you also got
You got a lot
some
going
other
on.
things
Yeah,
going on.
We got a lot.
But yeah, so Shu, why don't you tell us a little bit, just kind of. So Shu, obviously, big time tight end. I think kind of the first couple guys in the tight end, kind of lineage were Jeb and you, and maybe a little bit different.
Yeah. Different players, right?
Yeah, different type of player. Jeb was stretch the field, middle of the field,
Yeah.
like whatever, throw it up to him. Shu was obviously a great receiver, but probably a little bit more accomplished blocker than Jeb.
Well, thanks, man.
Which in Jeb's defense, he played receiver for 4 years.
Yeah.
So
Didn't have to block.
but Shu was the original. Well, I guess Lou was the original, but we're going to get Tyler Shoemaker on here in a couple weeks too. Tried to work it out to maybe get both shoes on here tonight, but didn't quite work out. But when the crowd started shoe,
Good times, right? That brings me back.
Oh, yeah.
Goosebumps,
Yeah.
Yeah.
well, it gives me goosebumps.
Yeah.
And I wasn't even coaching tight ends at that point, but it obviously meant something good happened.
Yeah, maybe. Hopefully. I did have that. It reminds me of a story. Not a great game of mine, but there was a section behind me that was booing me the whole time. It sounded a lot like Shoe, though, but it was absolutely booze. Away game. It happens. Yeah, can't win them all.
Okay, but so since playing, got drafted by the Bills, right?
Yep.
Played there for a few years. Kind of take us through
Yeah, sure.
your life.
Cool. So when I was done here, got drafted. Super thankful, obviously, right? Big time accomplishment for me is what it's something I always wanted to do.
Part of
So,
Bills Mafia
Bills
forever now.
Mafia, forever. Go Bills. Shakir, get somebody.
Yes,
I'm killing it right now.
Yeah.
And that was a great experience. I love Buffalo.
Hey, how about Shaq? As you mentioned his name, set a NFL record for most consecutive receptions on targets or something.
So, you know what I appreciate most about that guy? He'll respond to Instagram.
Yeah,
He's not too big yet.
No, he's not.
Shaq will never be too big.
He's just a little kid.
Yeah. No, but great job by him. We can hit that later, but bunch of Broncos really successful in the NFL this weekend. And but anyway, so you're in Buffalo,
Yeah, I had my
and then
Buffalo stint, and then finished out at a couple more teams. And once football was done, I took a small little hiatus from ball, and then now I work for the city of Boise as a fireman and do real estate on the side.
and Shu, we should mention during that hiatus, as he said, was actually a GA working like 20 hours a day after playing
At
7
least.
years in the NFL.
I did get
He
to experience
literally
that GA
working
life.
20 hours a day.
Yeah, I wish I was kidding, but I do remember working out about 2 a.m. when the lady was down in the gym vacuuming and mopping, and I was in there blasting music trying to get after it because work started. It was coming up. I had to get it in.
I know. Every time I remember Shu, and because he was there when I was a freshman, sophomore,
Yep.
and he would walk around with a band everywhere he went.
Gotta
And he
get
was
it in,
just
man.
ripping
Getting
out
it.
curls
When you can.
everywhere. You got to get it in.
Because you
Those
worry
biceps-
at some
yeah.
point
Those
you might
biceps
have
were
small
important.
arms.
Yeah.
Those
I got
biceps
kids.
were
I gotta make sure I keep
calendar.
my comments out.
Who has bigger arms?
For the
You or
calendar.
Bud?
Come on. I think we all know. Definitely not playing.
For a good call.
That used to be
Just for a good call.
Yeah.
that used to be the big deal at the tight end room, like who has the biggest arms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Playing
Who
ball
had the
was
biggest
playing ball was kind of important, but it was probably secondary to the weight room stuff.
The only thing that mattered in the tight end room was biceps and Nintendo 64.
Yeah,
That
we were
was
definitely
literally-
cleaning out all of
That
that.
was literally about it. Yeah, literally about it.
Linebackers did some, dude.
Linebackers typically came on top on N64
Nah.
because none of the tight ends could make that jump on Super Cooper Beach. Hit that tunnel jump, but
That's a lie.
But now Shu's serving the community here as a firefighter, and
Yeah, I've been doing that for about 4 years now. Now I'm driving around, so I'm swinging all over the city. So you might see me cruising around down here on Broadway.
hope not.
Yeah, right. Good point.
Hope we get to just watch you sitting there, relaxing in the station.
Shoot, we watch the games when we can. You know?
Yeah.
That's what I love about fall.
No, it's but Shu, Riley can attest to this, but one of those things we just kind of talked about always in the tight end room, like the guys that came before you, and we might be watching a play that we're installing that week, and it's Derek
Grainy
Schouman
footage
or-
and 4:3 aspect ratio, and now we got the HD.
Yes,
ain't no 4K or 1080p.
Nah, it didn't exist then, man. We didn't have cameras.
Tube TV.
Can you get up and change that channel, please? It's different now.
Aluminum foil on that.
We used all of it.
But seriously,
VCR on
that
the
was
cart.
something went on forever. And, really, no different on defense. Those guys still use clips from. That's one of the cool things about as long as everything's been going on, and you were part of this even as a coach. We're like digging up plays that we're putting in, like, oh, we ran that in 2003.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to interrupt real quick. So a fun little story about Rid. So when I was GAing, we watching plays that are 10, 15, ages ago. And I'm struggling to find the clip, and Rid every time knew. He's got a special talent. He memorizes every play. Like, hey, Rid, I'm looking for this play. He'd be like, yeah, it was the third quarter against whoever. We were heading like to the west end of the end zone. And sure enough, I go find the clip.
Tell those stories because my wife or at least somebody that knows her is going to see this. And all I'm going to hear is like, you can't remember to take out the freaking garbage.
Yeah, that's okay.
That one's just on you.
I mean, it's, priorities, right?
No doubt. You're saying Connor Riddle got the same exact gift. Yeah. Connor can tell you every single play, too. It's crazy.
Shout out to Cam. We love you.
Yeah. Love you. The trash will get taken out.
We'll come back to the Bills Mafia story maybe in a minute here. But Dave, tell everybody what you've been up to. Dave, let me just start this by an entrepreneur since his collegiate days. Many people here may have been involved with Dave's business when they were in college together.
Oh yeah, the good old days. I mean, I was what they were trying to stop with the NIL. They were like, we got to make sure these guys don't make too much money doing, all these other things. But no, played at Boise State from, 04 to 08, 09. And, unfortunately, got riddled by, quite a few injuries kind of throughout the season, but absolutely loved playing with all the boys and everything else. And then when I was sophomore, junior year or so, decided to create an entertainment company called Swag Entertainment. He's rid out the Mardi Gras, knitting factory, everything else. And all of a sudden you look up and we were making some money. we were making some money. We had all the young guys passing out flyers, buying radio ads and everything else. But, back in between 04 and 09, they didn't want you making money.
Those stipends weren't cutting it.
Man. A funny story is I was in the Boise airport and I ran into one of my favorite people, Coach Peterson. And even Coach Pete goes, man, you came to football at the wrong time. During the wrong time. But yeah, we used to throw parties, we used to do events, we used to do every single thing underneath the sun, and had such a great time there. Had such a great time with all the boys, just creating something fun. But and so now after football, it's over. Went into medical sales for quite a bit of time, and now own a couple different building maintenance and a couple different cleaning companies. Howard Building Maintenance, Idaho Cleaning Services, and now we're just out here partnering up. And man,
if you run into Dave and he tells you he's a janitor, although there's a smidgen of truth in that, don't buy it. Entrepreneur.
No, the building maintenance company, I just kind of realized through all of our amazing partnerships throughout the city, and thank you for everyone who partners with us. I realized that when you tell someone you're a janitor, no one asks any questions after that. You just gotta be like, absolutely. But no, we're out here. Our entire team is amazing. Shout out to our entire team over at Howard Building Maintenance. Michelle, Kira, Emily, every guys, love all you guys. And actually, one of the greatest things about being at Boise State once I got out of medical sales was the partnership with the brotherhood of all the different people you have. It was the reason why, we had so much success here in Boise, because they knew who they were dealing with. They knew the blue collar mentality that we have from, all of our guys over there at, BVA and ESI and the Corey Halls and the Nick Schleckaways and everybody else out there, they kind of knew it. And so appreciative. And yeah, now we're just out here, man. Just out here.
So, all right, give us a little story about your swag events days.
Swag Entertainment. We all we got. So, was our motto. So when I was playing at Boise State, my brother used to throw events and parties in St. Louis, and he was like, "Hey, you should throw a part of your event." And I was like, "Well, duh." Do it. I mean, I love partying. I might as well get paid for it too. At the same time. So, we started a company, Swag Entertainment. I mean, we had all of our close friends. Shout out to Mel and Jess, who were on the Boise State soccer team doing money at the front. You know, we had Boise State, all football guys doing security, hiring the DJ, all the guys hiring the DJs, and man, we would throw these parties at Mardi Gras, and I'm not even joking with you. I got to know the fire chief really well. The fire code was only $750, and we was at $900. He was like, "Get people out here. We're shutting this down." So no, Swag Entertainment was so good and so great. You know, at the time, I'll never forget. You know, there was an incident that happened, and I got a message on my phone. It was kind of late. It's from Coach Pete, and he was like, "My office, 8 a.m. Don't be late." All right.
That was the end of
Long
Swag
story-
Entertainment.
That wasn't the end. That wasn't the end.
The beginning of
It was the beginning of the end. I was definitely on there. You know, a couple more rules got put in place. No more football players being bouncers. You know, filing taxes and all kind of other stuff. But it was great. And now, you know, nowadays we look at, you know, what college football is turned into and all the different rules and everything else. And
now you'd be paying players for appearance fees.
Man,
right?
The game has changed, and
No doubt.
the game has changed.
No
So
doubt.
you were the first Johnny Manziel.
Pretty
Boy.
much.
I would say it, but yeah.
I mean, I was the first Shador Sanders out here. So I'm like, how can I make some money? But the greatest thing about Boise and the greatest thing about the Boise town in general, and I'm sure you guys have like realized it lately, is this town, when the football team is doing well, this town is electric.
No doubt.
I mean,
Electric.
the feel of right now and everything that's going on is the feel from, you know, back in the
Bring it back.
06, 07 days. I mean,
No doubt.
everyone knows that the biggest parade they ever went to that they didn't know they were going to was like after the Fiesta Club.
Yeah.
They looked up and they're like, it's like 70,000 people here. I mean, it is absolutely electric right now. And
Yeah.
I love the feeling, gives me goosebumps. And so, yeah,
It's awesome.
we're gonna
Let's-
ride this train out.
That's something for both you guys
No
to talk
doubt.
about because you were on obviously
Yeah.
part of that game, part of that team. Shoe with one of the bigger plays in the game.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, buddy.
Shout out to Vinny.
Oh, yeah. Vinny P.
Yeah, come on, yeah,
But yeah, I mean, just talk about like what you guys see in terms of that year compared to this year.
Yeah. Well, I think Dave kind of touched on it. The excitement, you can feel it. It's kind of palpable in a sense, right? And it just brings people together in the community.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, back then, like you talked about that parade, everyone's friends with everybody. We're like one giant family out here in the community, and it kind of feels a little bit like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And the team, you know, playing
Team's
like
playing
that
good.
too,
They're playing
right?
so
I
good.
mean, you see the energy from them.
Off the
A
both
lot
sides
of
of the
different
ball.
guys showing up. Shout out to Louder that
Oh,
carrying
come
on the
on,
tight
dude.
end
Yeah,
you love
tradition.
seeing the
Yes,
tight end
sir.
get
Yeah.
going out there, man. Had to text him, say, keep it up. Proud of you, bro.
Louder's a guy that could totally get down with the who's got the bigger arms, do the
Yeah.
curls.
He's up there.
He would love that. You could show up and dominate him,
Okay.
put him in his place,
Yeah,
let him know that. But
like you did during Dex when you came out and ran over.
Come on, guys.
Oh, you went to that?
Come on, man. Yeah.
Oh,
shoot, went.
It's like little.
Shoot, ran him.
He wasn't even sweating.
I didn't see you, Dave. Were you there?
yeah, no.
Oh, that's right.
I got the email though.
Yeah.
If that counts. I mean,
Swipe delete.
Archiving.
yeah, red. Got the email. No, I didn't go out and run decks. I should have. You know, but no, I didn't.
There is a question you were asking. You were talking about just the excitement right now with the team. Chris Grizzle just asked Derek, when you played, it seemed like it's such an exciting time. Fans traveled a lot to all the games. Do you feel like it's heading back in that direction with the way things are going with the team right now?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you guys are watching these games. I mean, now it kind of has that feel of we're going to hang some points up on the board. We're going to win big. Like we kind of – people get a little spoiled, got used to winning big, and it feels a lot like that, which is exciting. I mean, I love watching – offense, defense last week. They played just outstanding.
Yeah,
you mentioned, Reed, how many people went to the Oregon game, too, the former players and stuff.
Well, that's one thing. I mean, whether it's home game, away game, I mean, you can show up, you're going to run into some former players, and you might not know who it is. I mean, it might be Schou, might be Dave, might be Darren College, might be Tommy Stewart.
Never know.
Allie Dan, whoever. I mean, but those guys are, I'm trying to think of all the guys I've seen over the last couple, well, probably over the last month, but I mean, there aren't many guys missing.
You can only imagine this upcoming week.
Oh,
jeez.
Yeah, it's it's really good. It's I think credit goes back all the way to Coach Pete starting the Gridiron Social way back in 06, 07, somewhere in there. But I think most of the guys that played here kind of know each other at least a little bit.
Yeah.
Like maybe not,
spans all the generations.
Yeah, but I think back to like Lenny Chow being at everything. There's a guy that played a while ago.
Yeah,
played for Lyle Smith. Randy Troutman, the Onion,
all the guys,
right?
We need more of that. Donnie Heck at the last tip.
Yeah, Donnie Heck. I mean, I think it's a lot of fun. We got I will say this. I think we got a big show coming up as we kind of head into the November timeframe there. But I think something will be really cool. You guys be around, so we'll wait a couple weeks, unveil that one, kind of confirm everybody. But I think that'll be a fun one.
No doubt.
Another question from Corey for both of our guests here. Besides Coach Ridd, which coach or player gave the best pregame speeches or halftime chew-outs?
Dibs on this one?
Yeah, you go first.
I mean, Ridd was definitely the best, but if you guys remember Jeff Pittman, I can't recreate it. It's not family friendly. But there's one particular speech at the we're playing at U of I at the Vandal, and pretty sure after that speech, everyone was either confused or ready to go. I'm still not sure.
I just remember Gerald Alexander. This is
Can't forget it.
Yeah, Gerald's like, that ain't it, man.
But we were ready and we won, so that's what matters.
We started a little slow.
Yeah, it happens.
So side note to that story. So we're Arkansas State with Hars. Pitt's on the staff. Gerald's a GA. And we're getting ready to play Idaho. And Hars is like, Pitt, we're going to give you a chance at a do-over.
Did he take it? I got to know. Did he take it? Okay.
And it went much better.
At some point, there's only one way.
Gerald was actually telling the story there in the staff room one day. He's like, I just remember sitting there and be like, Pitt, that ain't it, man.
Say that again.
There were a whole bunch of people like, I think you were probably gone, but you were there when Choder lit the helmet on fire.
No, I was literally going to say the two best pregame speeches. Anyone that knows Coach Cho knows that he brings intensity. So
that's why Nevada shows up ready to play every week.
100%. Shout out to Coach Cho. You already know. If you play for Coach Cho, you were coming in with, you want to talk about your hair lit on fire. I mean, that is a guy who can get you riled up. But another one that I 100% remember, primarily because he was so mild-mannered and probably never raised his voice more than like 2 decibels, believe it or not, was Coach Strauss.
I knew which one it was.
Coach Strauss came out
standing on top of it. I mean, he's like, you were on top of the table.
Yeah, I mean, just you saw a side of him that no one had ever seen. And you were talking about getting fired up.
Back in the WWE days.
Literally. You're talking about a guy who you never heard, like, talk above a whisper, and all of a sudden we're like, let's go.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
We
man.
had some great ones back then. I mean, it was Coach Hawk kind of let everybody have a shot at it. Coach Pete did the same thing. So there were a lot of
rather than the arrow or something. Yeah. It was always good.
There were a lot of good ones over the years. It was a lot of fun, and as a coach, you're being trusted with like, hey, these guys are about to take the field. Like,
Be a lot of pressure.
I better bring it.
I never even thought about that.
Yeah.
Oh,
God,
be a
you
lot
talk
of
about pressure.
Were you sitting in the mirror the night before, like,
No,
Dress rehearsal.
no. I am not a rehearsed.
let it go.
Yeah, I mean, be yourself.
Touche.
And I think that's something that everybody in there, probably appreciates, is because we all know each other so well.
Yeah.
Like if you come out and you're like rehearsed and all, like the players are going, really?
Yeah.
Whatever.
You can't.
I mean, like
be
even
Pitt, you can't
we're
be-
making fun of Pitt.
No,
We're
that's
making
not
fun
you.
of Pitt,
kill.
but I mean, guys would have freaking run through the wall for that guy just
Oh,
because they believed in him.
Yeah.
It's not
Say anything.
it wasn't like a complicated a deal. You just,
Be yourself.
I mean, really,
Say it from the heart.
really say it from the
For
heart.
sure.
Say it
Make
from
sure
the
you
heart.
drop a few F-bombs
Yeah.
and say, let's go.
That's all you need.
that easy. No one even knows what
Pre-game speech with no curse words is not a
I know. The best was Riley Wimpy, because Riley. he was-
He did. Yeah.
I don't think I
absolutely.
ever heard him curse ever. And we had a pregame speech in the middle, and he just let it rip. And we're all looking around. We're like, "Is he allowed to say like what is going on?" But I've never been so hyped ever. It was.
There's another guy. Saw him roll by the James pregame last week. I mean, there were so many guys. So come by. We'll be here pregame again next week. But I'm trying to think. Thank God we had Nate helping us out with the tent, all that stuff. But I'm trying to think. So Matt Griffin, Riley,
Yeah.
Tyler
Boys
Shoemaker, over and over. K Kola. Kala walked by at some point.
No
Joe
doubt.
Pro. So some of these guys have been on, will be on, but it's just a really cool environment. And get
No
down
doubt.
here,
Absolutely.
even if you can't go to the game. Hell, come down here, find Dave.
Well, we out here.
Little white shirt.
He might charge you, but
Just listen for the music. A lot of people.
That
So I'm gonna
defined
be
a
next
lot
week.
of tailgates, though.
Yeah.
That did define a lot of tailgates.
Touche.
all right, we got a question from Nathaniel over here.
Hey guys, the question I have, since this week we're playing Utah State, is what's your funniest story or memorable moment from playing against the Aggies from Utah State?
Good question.
Ooh, I got a good one.
Get it, man.
So you know how most Boise State players on game day, they like to post a picture of them, back in the day playing. There was a play involved with me and Corey Hall, where when I look at that picture, I'm like, I think I would be suspended for the season. I mean, it was a full Nelson arm across the helmet, ripped the helmet. I mean, it was one of those where it would be a minimum 3 game suspension. Minimum 3 game suspension. And the cameraman
Rules were a little different. Then.
rules were a little different.
Yeah, right.
And, and the funny thing is the cameraman got it right at the most perfect angle where Corey was taking out his legs and I was absolutely taking out his head.
Yeah.
And it was so bad that to this day, every single time I look at it, I'm like,
Brings it back. Nah.
Shouldn't be allowed.
Shouldn't be allowed. That's why the rules got changed.
yeah, that's
got-
why the rules
we
got
got
changed.
another-
This is literally the picture.
Oh,
Yeah,
but
there
when
you
you
go.
can show it.
So I call that high low or something like that.
This is literally the picture, and I'm like, yeah. So we need to change the rules a little bit. Safety,
Good, yeah.
safety.
Health first.
We have one of Dave's super fans came down just to see Dave.
Although my question is for all four of you, really. You could each answer this. I want to know your most embarrassing moment out of your entire football career. And don't act like you didn't have one. I know you did.
Yeah, everybody got one.
Everybody's
Everybody's got one.
I mean, I swore to the grave with most of those.
Forgot them all.
I'll let you guys go first.
Yeah, I got to think of it.
Shoot. Okay, I
I'll
got like
leave-
plenty.
okay,
How many
go.
do you need? No, I'm
Yeah.
kidding. So back in the day, I felt like we pride ourselves on trying to be tough guys, right? Like that was our thing. We try to go out there and be tough. And there's one play in particular, a good friend of mine won't let me forget. It's the only reason why it's coming to mind right now. Thanks, Ryan. We're playing Hawaii here on the blue, and I had a chance to go get a lick on somebody, like a big hit. Kind of chickened out right at the end because the guy was probably twice my size. So I slowed up a little bit, like this one's gonna hurt. And yeah, it's just bad. He won't let me forget that one. We'll end it there, but it wasn't great. Not good, man.
Oh, mine. I was a freshman at Oregon State. Got into the game against Oregon, Civil War, which whatever they call it now, it's not that. But it was early in the game. I was actually playing well and took off running and slid because I saw a safety coming. I didn't see the corner coming, and he smoked me. Again, helmet to helmet. Would have gotten an extra 15 yards.
Yeah.
I was unconscious.
You remember the game?
I don't even remember this, but I still think it's embarrassing.
But you had a good nap.
I had a great nap, but I apparently went into convulsions. Flopping around a little bit out there. Had to bring the ambulance. No. I had to bring the ambulance out.
Is there video of this?
Somewhere.
This before camera.
I mean, we all need to go sleuthing. and find
Me
it.
too. I agree.
Yeah, it was. That would be by far
It
my
happens
most
to everybody.
embarrassing.
I could say without a doubt my most embarrassing moment ever. I'm a redshirt freshman just coming in, and we're doing our first ever workout. And normally you come in and you're like, oh, I'm gonna show everybody what I got. Well, I got hurt my senior year, dislocated my shoulder. Thought I was good. Everything was golden. So my very first night, we hadn't even had the first practice yet. This was just like the very first workout. And you do overhead squat where all you do is have the bar and you lift it over your head and you get deep just to
Warm
stretch out everything. Put the bar too far back, 45 pounds by means, and dislocated my shoulder.
First
In the
impression.
very
Yeah,
first
he's that
workout,
guy.
his very first impression, I'm literally running out of the weight room like, I'll be back, coach.
Couldn't have a special name for those guys.
Yeah.
Had to go in the training room, the very first practice, pop my shoulder, and then the training room's looking at me like, why are you here? I was like, I dislocated my shoulder. Like, we haven't had a practice yet. I was like, well, the very first workout. Long story short, it was not my proudest moment. But you live to fight another day.
And you did.
I did.
Oh, mine's early on too. It was my first time ever stepping on the field, and we're at Florida State. So I'm back in my hometown. All my family and friends are there, and they gave me, I wasn't starting at the time by any means, but they gave me one play to run, and it was just a clear out route. Just get the hell out of the way and run. So I'm all fired up. All my family's watching, know I'm in. I run my route, they catch it. I try to go block someone and do a little extra, talk some shit. And it's like a 6'5", 240-pound linebacker, like he had the crop top going. I was like, oh, shit. And so I started pushing him out to the play. Just I'm fired up to be in there. He slapped me across the face, and my whole helmet went completely sideways. And I'm on the field, black, can't see shit. And I started running off the field, making my helmet, and all my boys just had videos of me just dying laughing. First play ever as a college football player. And I was like, all right, I'm not doing it. I'm picking my battles that I'm gonna win, because I was way out of my league on that one.
That was an awesome question. That's fun,
Man.
Yeah,
That's
I
good.
love it.
Thanks, guys.
Gosh.
Thanks for the question. That was
Thank
good.
you.
You
always think about all
Good
those
question.
questions where you're just thinking in your head like, which one?
Yeah, that's what I said, man. How many do you want?
I mean,
Well, I was actually, you brought up something though. So I recruited Dave out of St. Louis, and
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Theo, we all we got.
Lafayette High School.
Yes, sir.
But I had no idea.
Go Lancers.
Dave's like, yeah, I'll meet you at the school. Like we'll hang out at the school, whatever. I didn't know till years later that was nowhere even kind of near where Dave actually lived.
Not even within a mile. I mean, an hour. I was in a desegregation program growing up. A lot of people didn't know, so I bust out from the inner city to the county. So Rid and Hawk come out, and I'm out in the county, and they're like, "Oh, love this." And I'll never forget.
You don't know what you don't know, man.
And then Hawk comes to the hood for the family meeting. He's like, "Whoa, this ain't Lafayette." This ain't what I signed up for.
See that?
But Hawk's one of those guys like embraces that stuff.
Oh,
he's all about it. He's like, hey, take me down to the corner and introduce me to the guys.
Yeah, 100%. I didn't even think when he was at the house, he was like, "What's for dinner?" I was like, "Oh, you're not gonna cook?" Really?
I remember CT Thomas, he would say, like, because they would always try to scare everyone there, like, hey, when you guys are on break, we're gonna send someone out to drug test you, like in your hometown. And CT was like, I dare you. They're not gonna come find me, that's for sure. They go on to the corner and turn right back around.
They're gonna come to drug test, but they ain't gonna make it out.
They gonna just pass me. They're gonna be like, you're good.
That drug test is not gonna make it to the lab. What's up? So he left right when I came. And the funny thing about Ryan Howard, a lot of people don't know this. So Ryan Howard was obviously amazing all-star baseball player, went to my high school. They used to make him practice on the JV field because the JV field didn't have a place to hit home runs over the fence, because whenever he played on the varsity field, he'd hit it over the fence, over the creek, over the street, and they would lose so many balls that they literally made him do hitting practice on the JV field, because you can hit it in tennis courts all you want. But oh man, yeah, those were the good ones.
Some of the best stories that I've heard, like recruiting wise, and some of it comes from Dave's wife now too, like trying to get in and out of the area. It's a little tough.
My wife,
you got to be, you got to know where you're going, and people got to know you're coming, right?
I will say this: I love Boise, Idaho.
Yeah,
love Boise, Idaho.
No, I think that's something we kind of take for granted here.
100%.
Is there's a lot of people here, they come from, whether it's necessarily from Boise or around, like, kind of one environment. That's a whole different environment.
Oh yeah, I love
Dave,
Boise, Idaho. I haven't owned the key to my front door in like 7-8 years. I don't even
don't tell me.
All right.
Because it stays locked and you go in the back. That's
absolutely go through the garage. Go through the garage.
Yeah, but and then there's the flip side. You're a local guy, grew up here watching the Broncos.
Granted, but really not, man. I love living here. I appreciate it. Like we talked about earlier, this community is special. It's different. It's awesome. It's a good place to live.
And like you brought up, it's really cool when it's really buzzing like it is now, right?
It's electric.
I mean, what the better the Broncos are, the more fun the community. Like, there's more stuff going on.
Yeah.
I mean, even tonight we got, well, of course Dave's here, so we got the Dave Shields fan club. We got
them everywhere. I mean, it doesn't matter where you go, you're gonna run into somebody that you can talk small talk.
That's the best part.
Broncos,
Yeah, I love it.
And I think
you're at.
Like you kind of said, you were from here. I was from St. Louis, and then you go down the list of people. Like I look at my roommates that I live with.
Yeah.
You want to talk about the most eclectic group of people.
I mean, come on.
You had like me from St. Louis, grew up in the hood.
Right.
You had Vinny Peretta, who is
not the hood.
I mean, Jesus Christ made him himself to come down on this earth.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? You had Kyle Ging, the most Mr. All-American man.
Just run into him a little bit ago.
Oh yeah, he just moved back here.
Yeah.
Everyone leaves Boise, but they always come back.
They come back.
You have Bush Hamden, Mr. East Coast, most stylish.
Come on.
Coach Hamden, a lot of guys know. Shout out Bush Hamden, Kentucky. Ole Miss, go Cats. It was just, and then we live with Ian Johnson too. Cali,
but not
Ian's the best guy. He's from Cali. Ian, so you get so many different groups of people who are just from so many different backgrounds to all come together, who are just come together because of the brotherhood, because of football. We're all going through the same things together, and that's.
I think about like guys like Shu that really kind of started that.
Yeah,
The-
special, man. That's a special place.
Yeah.
It's different. And all the
Shoe.
kids
We
are-
had Matt Nappis on a couple weeks ago. Huff.
Yep.
You know, I mean, the guys kind of way back that really got that brotherhood cranked up. You know, because I think it probably was a little different for a year or two before that. I think the guys like back in the Lyle Smith days for sure. But you know, I mean, to have that going and the continuity we've had here with people being part of all that, I think just makes that a lot easier.
Kind of reminds me of like me and Putnam will talk sometimes about Hawkins and Peterson. So we liked our shenanigans, right? We kind of screwed around a lot, but he was okay with it because we were performing, right? So it's that
Absolutely.
fine line you got to put with these kids. It's like,
Yeah.
hey, have a good time, but make sure you show up, you know.
100%.
And it worked.
Yeah, there should be, you know, whatever it is. I don't know what the exact ratio is, but somewhere there should be some fun in there, right?
Yeah.
We're in there in the meeting room for an hour. Everybody's attention span's about 20 minutes anyway.
If you're lucky.
So sometime after 20 minutes, like we probably need to joke for a minute and then rein everybody back in.
The linebacker just because they're soft, you know, that kind of stuff.
We're so soft, you know. and the tight ends.
Pathetic, you know? Linebackers, the rivalry.
You know, a lot of people don't know. Like every personnel group has their rivalry.
Man.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone that knows football knows cornerbacks hate wide receivers. Hate them. I mean, there are about
Stink, and I hate
and I hate 'em. you know, linebackers hate tight ends.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everyone
because you always lose.
Everyone thinks Shoe's such a nice guy. Oh, I met Shoe. If you go head to head with Shoe, he is one of the meanest people in the absolute world.
That is not true.
I'll say this now that football is over.
Okay.
We had an awesome linebacker crew, an awesome tight end crew. On the linebacker side, it was me, it was Corey, you had Colt, you had
Brothers, man, yeah.
bunch of other guys over there. On the tight end crew, you had Shoe, you had Putt, you had Richie, you had
everybody.
Sure, you had
All the guys.
bunch of guys. And we all think that we're so much better than the other. Not just in football, but in N64 and every single thing else. And so every single day was an absolute battle.
No doubt.
Linebackers won 86% of the times, and every blue moon, you know, they would get it. But
That's a lie.
it was also those competitions that built where, you know, Boise was, and then over time through all the competition, like a lot of people don't understand.
Yeah, they don't get it.
The reason why, like back in the days, even Boise State was so good is because you had to go against Shoe every day. Like,
Thanks, man.
I didn't know if he was going to try to truck me or if he was going to run a sick route, and all of a sudden I'm sitting there waiting for a run, and then he just slips me or whatever else it might be. You know, DNs got so much better because they were going against Ryan Clady. You know, running backs got so much better because, you know, I'm over here. My scout team guy was Doug Martin. Like, I'll never forget when Justin Wilcox,
Something's off here.
Doug Martin was on the scout team. I'll never forget this day. Doug gets a sweep, and I'm running. I'm perfect angle, banana route, everything else. And I go, and Doug jumps back 3 yards and about 4 yards to the left, and I just go by. And Justin Wilcox comes to me, and I think I'm about to just get yelled at. And he comes to me, he goes, I've never seen that a day in my life. And I go, neither have I. That's the reason I missed a tackle.
Built different.
I'm over here thinking I'm about to get yelled at, but you just had so many good players from the tight ends to the running backs, and we just all got each other better. And, you know, I just love it because when the momentum gets going with Boise State and you got good versus going on good, you know that, you know, you're building something great.
Yeah. I love seeing the scout team guys too. Like the freshmen come in, and then they're going to be a baller because they're making the starters look bad. And I'm like, that's always the coolest thing. Just like, I remember George Lonnie was on there for maybe one practice.
Yeah.
And he made everyone look silly. And the best, like, I was on scout team as a quarterback the first 2 years, and it was like our goal is to make the starters look bad and see them get yelled at. And it was, especially Avalos yelling at the defense, that was our goal by the end of the day. And so seeing stuff like that, the scout team guys go crazy is awesome.
You already know.
Yeah, I remember when Corey was on the scout team on offense, the defensive that year is redshirt, and the guy'd have like 3 picks every practice.
Something's off here, man. That's not supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Corey is the man. I love, dude. I remember I learned more from Corey Hall. Shout out to Corey Hall. Absolutely love Corey. I learned more from Corey Hall sitting down for one film session than I probably learned the last 3 years of football. Because a lot of people don't know this about me. I got hurt my freshman year, got hurt my senior year. I literally only played 2 years of football before I played, football here at Boise State. Yep. And Corey would break things down to me. I was just like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. He's like, what do you think this fullback is gonna do? Like run a seam route, like in an offset? Like he's only got 2 routes he's gonna run. I was like, I guess I don't really have to worry about that.
I think about that all the time, like going against Corey, Andy, like those guys are like lined up every play, yelling out the play. So defense, like they cheat by knowing what the play is going to be because they've watched all the stuff.
Always.
I will say this: offense cheats by once the play starts. Like, do we hold?
Yeah.
Absolutely hold.
There's no refs, man. It's not holding if no one called it.
And these cheaters know all your signals too. So you're trying to run, we're calling our signals like they're in cover 2, they're in Tampa 2, they're putting their teeth out. Like, seems wide open, seems wide open.
Yeah. We haven't brought that up yet. Every time on the show, we say how the defense cheats. At least you said the story straight.
Half the time, I would literally feel like the offense do the signal calls better than the defensive guys did.
Ain't that the truth? Then you play another team, you're like, oh shit, I don't know what that signal is.
Yeah, and that's the beauty, right? You get into the games, and all of a sudden, the other team's like back on their heels a little bit because they don't know. Like it might be 50 different things to them, and the offensive guys, we still cheat and hold.
Yeah.
But holding inside the framework is legal.
Yeah, it's legal.
Yeah.
Holding is holding. Holding is holding.
We do have a question from Taylor Tharp on here.
Oh no!
He must have missed the beginning of the show because he says, "Hey Shields, how do you think Swag Entertainment would do in the NIL era?" And hey Shu, why are you trying to be like Brad Lau in that shirt?
Brad Lau definitely.
Who called this question? I never heard of him.
Who's this guy you said? Taylor who?
Taylor Tharpy?
Taylor Tharp. Well, first of all, you could tell Taylor Tharp that Swag Entertainment would be Mecca right now, and
have its own collection
within the Boise market. I am pretty sure we would be renting out every stadium out here, having concerts and everything else. And I'll let Shu answer about the biceps.
Yeah, I just need to go grab some coffee with Tharp. Tell him to reach out. We'll go grab some coffee and chat.
Yeah. Because Mr. Tharp is the definition of scubby. So, God, I shouldn't do that to you. Never mind. I won't go to
Tharp's
the man. My guy.
He was talking about his workouts last week. So
shout out to my guy Tharpy. He's literally one of my favorite human beings in the world. He was in my wedding.
Come on, man. Come on. You can say that. I love it. I love to say that.
It's gonna be fat and chubby, no muscle.
Love you, Taylor.
Also common face.
Yeah. I just say if he's gonna come in with this question, I used to always say Taylor. Taylor was always the best person at all the non-athletic sports. I'm telling you. Table tennis, pool, darts. Taylor's murdered you. 100-yard dash, not so much.
David, another question. Michael Adams wants to know, what was the field reaction to Alexander's decapitation hit against Utah?
Ooh, was pretty much all you always heard back then. The game has changed so much where there was nothing you wanted more than a post route or shallow or shallow slant route where you just like, oh my God, now's my time. Now's my time.
No, thanks.
You're gonna die. You know what I mean? And it was electric. It was absolutely electric. And these guys, man, the game back then was obviously a little bit different. And let's make sure we got one thing clear. Like obviously safety is extremely important, but we also loved seeing someone's helmet come up.
Shu, what was your favorite play?
Favorite ever?
Yeah, favorite play ever. Pro, college, whatever.
You put me on the spot, man. I gotta Whole bunch of them, I'm sure. I mean, the first thing I'm gonna think of is the Fiesta Bowl.
Fiesta
game.
Bowl,
Come on.
right?
And
I
it's
would
probably not
assume
going to
that.
be maybe one you're thinking of, but it was 3rd and 6. I ran a quick out, basically. Took a pass off the hands, caught it on my second try. The only reason I like that play is because if I would have dropped it, man, it might have been a different game.
Yeah.
So thank God I caught that thing. He's like, okay, we'll be all right. But
Well, yeah, I would assume most of Boise Nation would be thinking about the
how about
touchdown.
a Liz H. Grid against
I-
TCU in 03?
I was
Come on.
actually that's
That right-
one of
that's
my
mine too,
favorites.
man. I
Yeah.
don't want to throw that out there. But,
So we ran a play. She's got kind of a post corner ish on the backside, and
freshman.
we
big
were
pads,
a little
sloppy back in the day.
when we were a little thin that
We
game,
were a lot. Yeah.
and then lost a couple other guys, and but I mean, we had some dudes show up and ball out, but that play was
Carpenter shout out.
Yeah, Jeff Carpenter.
TC, come
I
on.
think D Mike had a
Big
80-yard
D-Mike,
touchdown
dude.
run, and RD like literally carried us that game.
D man, I still talk about him. I'm thinking of all the QBs I played with. He's one of the best.
Oh yeah,
I mean, he might be the best.
right.
he's
And
up
you're
there.
talking about NFL and everything, right?
Everywhere.
I mean,
he's just
we-
good.
yeah, we talked
We
a
knew
little
we were
bit
gonna
about that when Navis was here. Dude was ruthless too.
He's competitive.
Yeah.
But
He was here. He left right when I had came in, and I remember coming in and all I heard was stories.
Oh,
Like
dude,
They're all
legend.
true.
dudes are literally scared. Literally scared of him.
Yeah, I'm just lucky when I came in as a freshman. He's a senior, I'm freshman. I
Yeah.
remember we were doing those PRPs in the summer. For whatever reason, he liked me, and I was like, okay, I got a chance here. Yeah, I'm okay
But
with
that
RD.
was-
We're
that-
good.
That was like the final touchdown that we'd gone
Technically,
dry.
to go ahead.
We
Yeah.
went ahead for a while, and then we went dry for a while.
Well, yeah.
That was one of the better coaching stories too. Like, things are just not going well. We're playing with like out 3 of our starting linemen, and I think Clayton Adams was playing guard that game.
Layden, love you, buddy.
Yeah, he's the best.
Yeah, my favorite.
But we had a lot of things going on. We were struggling, and we got to one point. It was like, hello.
That's all we got.
There was
No.
nothing on the other end of the phone. Hello, and we got it together and hit shoe on that, and the defense came up big, and
Yeah.
they tried to 65-yard field goal that wasn't very close, but that was a huge win. And all those things that I think at that point like built on top of each other,
They did.
whether it was the H bowls early on, that might have been our first out of town bowl game.
Shit, it might have been.
I'm trying to think that
I'm in Louisville 04.
that would have been before the Liberty Bowl, right? So, but kind of all that stuff like building up, and then obviously the first Fiesta Bowl, freaking phenomenal. The whole year was phenomenal.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
I still remember like I shouldn't.
Yeah.
I like
Dude,
it's burned in there. What the experience,
Well, you guys, I think the biggest misnomer about that team is that, hey, Oklahoma's Oklahoma, and they had Adrian Peterson and some other guys.
100%.
I believe Boise State had more NFL players
Why am I?
than Oklahoma.
Okay. I'm so glad you said that, because I have had so many conversations with people that have been like, so what do you think happened with the Fiesta Bowl? It's like, you guys don't understand the team that Fiesta Bowl was. I said, let's just start off by the bench. It's like a lot of people don't know that Titus was on the bench. Doug Martin was on the bench. Like we had like 7 NFL guys that literally weren't even starting. And then you looked at the current starters, you got you got Shoe, but not knowing that you got Richie behind him.
Clay
You got
D.
Ian Johnson, but at the same time, you don't understand you got Doug Martin behind him. And across the entire
Vinny,
man, it's crazy.
all the receivers, I think, had a
Yeah, Scandrick, Alexander, you had
Marty.
Corey Hall, come on.
Corey Hall. I mean, you had I remember one time I was getting into it with someone about Boise State and how we would be, had to go to playoffs. And I broke down the roster from starters to like non-starters. And I said, we had total like almost like 17 NFL guys or something like that. on the entire team, and some guys who didn't go to the NFL, but were the best potentially.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know this, but Dennis Ellis was maybe
He still lives here, dude.
I read
He's making
district, man.
Yeah, he's coaching youth football.
Yeah, he was Mr. Texas. He was like maybe the most athletic person
in that game
on the team, and he wasn't even in the mix when I'm talking about like the 17 NFL guys were on the roster, but he was definitely an NFL guy. So no, that team,
The O-line was deep.
man,
it's just
across the entire board. It was good.
Somebody was asking about that game, and after you guys fell behind on the pick six, just the mental state at that point after you'd played so well and then fallen behind.
It was tough for me, and the reason I say it was tough for me is a lot of people probably don't know this because they just thought, oh, they got it. So after that, like when that pick six happened, before then, like right after then too, the 2-point conversion, solid slant route. I tipped it. It was a bad ball, and I turned it into a good ball. Caught it. If I would have just picked that, boy, probably would have ran for mayor or something. I would have ran for mayor or something like that.
Hey, it's way more fun the way it happened, right?
100%.
I mean, because I even think back to, we were on the verge of blowing them out.
Oh, I tell people
And
that all
then
the time.
and then the punt backed up and hit, I think it was Iona.
Iona, yeah.
Tough break. I mean, it was just a bad thing, but all of a sudden they got the ball back at like the 7-yard line or whatever it was, and they score and kind of got some momentum going. But if that doesn't happen, I mean, theoretically, we could have blown them out and it wouldn't have been a big deal.
I got a funny story for you. So that after I dropped that pick, I was so mad. I was on the sideline and I throw my helmet off. Wow. Ear pads pop off the whole nine. And then we hit a hook and ladder, and all of a sudden, boom, 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 we're tied. And I'm like, oh my God, where's my helmet? Can't find my ear pads. Literally grab a freshman's helmet and ripping out the ear pads out of his field, trying to.
sounds about right.
Yeah, that's stuff that happens more often than.
Oh my God, that was so.
Somebody else asked if all those trick plays worked in practice.
Never.
Come on. Friday
Circus?
Yeah, for the
Absolutely
on
not.
air. On air? It worked on
Did it
air.
work?
Okay.
Yeah,
No
it worked.
defense. It worked every time.
Every time.
No, the other ones, I mean,
A hit or miss, right?
Every time, but
some of
never.
them work, some of them
From
don't.
the that bunch 19 toss or
Yeah.
Nevada or whatever
Yeah.
set the place up. So they weren't just completely
Yes,
pulled out of thin air, it's like a circus.
Statue had been run
Statue
like
ran
the
at U of
year
I.
before, even.
Yeah.
They've been run 3 or 4 times.
Minor
over the
adjustments along the
years,
way,
and- yeah.
different
So,
problems or whatever.
but circus was the big one. I mean, we practiced that
Still can't
from
believe that worked.
2001 to
It was
all the
in
way there,
every
and
week.
never needed it. And
So
it
you
was
needed-
it was like the end of practice, right? Like that's
screwing around.
we would run that, and then we'd run coming out.
Low linemen are catching pitches and stuff. Like just stupid.
That was
Yeah.
fun. We still practice
was
that.
Long story short, no, it never worked. Absolutely
Yeah,
never.
I mean, but that's the beauty of the play. Like when it needed to be executed, it was executed, and it never got past J-Rab. But if you watch that play, like you can see Ian and
He was
Z
right there.
like sprinting down there, like they were going to make that play work one way or another.
Yeah.
Clady trailing late.
Yeah, I mean, you had a lot of other options, and for whatever reason, apparently a lot of people had not seen that play before. It had been run. Navy ran it against Notre Dame. It had happened before, but I say Navy against Notre Dame because Navy got pushed out at like the 1-yard line.
You see what I'm talking about? The beautiful mind thing? Doing it again.
Anyway.
Yeah. Brandon Bailey wants to know the best trick play you never got to run in a game.
Oh. We ran them all.
I had a
Well,
good one.
Riley,
Good one?
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
so we always had one because I played quarterback, so we always had it where I was going to throw the ball, which I was so fired up about. Shoulder started, I was like, I can't. But we had a play where Hank was at quarterback, Avery Williams was at running back, and I was in the slot to the field. And Hank hands a jet sweep to Avery, And then Avery pitches it to me going back the other way, and then Hank slips out down the sideline. And like we said, it doesn't work in practice. It would be on air, and I would throw it to Hank, and he would still drop it. So I'm not surprised we never ran it. But that would have been one of the coolest plays ever, just having like a defensive guy in and running that, especially when Avery was in.
Yeah.
They were all just going to fly to the other side of the
still
field.
playing that? Someone on TV last week?
Avery's killing it.
He's killing it.
Getting it, buddy.
How about speaking of guys still playing, J-Mac?
Oh, yeah.
J-Mac,
Yeah.
2 touchdowns last
Yeah.
week.
Yeah.
John Bates leading him in on
Yeah,
one.
he did.
and,
First two to celebrate together. That was pretty sick.
I was so fired up.
Saw Bates' Instagram. He need to do something with that hairdo, though.
Oh,
It's got his haircut.
about that. That's not it, man.
JB
Love you,
is
John.
a big man now.
That's a big boy. A big dude.
I think he's like
He got
265, 270, and he looks freaking awesome.
about right.
That guy is, if he's not the best walking tight end in the NFL right now, I'd like to know who is, because that dude is just killing guys. They don't throw him the ball much, but I promise you, he's one of their most valuable players.
I agree. No doubt.
Derek,
But,
sorry.
No, I was just going to say, but, I just shout out to J-Mac, because that guy, perseverance. I mean, he left here in 16, kind of bounced around and, was, I think, find a pretty damn good home. He had like 70 yards and 2 touchdowns
Killing it.
as a backup last week. So,
Question from Bronco 130. Derek, who threw a better ball, Zabransky or Peretta?
Ouch. Bronco 130, my guy.
that's certainly one of those two.
Is it we like Zabransky throwing us the ball, but if you guys go back and watch the tape, that ball from Peretta, the spiral was on point, the touch, you can't beat the moment. Slow mo. I still remember.
He's the man.
I talk about that play. It was a slow motion. I could still remember seeing the stripes as that ball was like, I'm like thinking, get here, come on, like get here. What a throw, man! Right where it needed to be.
That's Vinny for you, right?
I got to do everything.
Yeah,
I gotta tell a great story about Vinny, because Vinny is one of the best overall football players most people don't
Every
know.
position.
That dude did everything.
All of it.
And I'll never forget, he was my suite mate also in the dorms. And I was like, hey, what position do you play? And he goes, slot back. And I go, what is a slot back?
Slot, running back, O-line.
I was like, so you play it's like Vinny Peretta was the Christian McCaffrey before there was Christian McCaffrey, because he played running back.
I think we did play him at nickel at some point.
He played running back. He played nickel. He could play the X, the Y, the C. He could do everything else on the
Him and Avery. Avery was very much like that too. Both those guys. They came from my recruiting area, and both of them. I was like, I don't know where these guys are going to play. I just know they're really good players, and we need to get them here. And so we did, and fortunately we had one, and Hawk and Hars happened to be the head coach at the time, were completely open to that. Like, we'll figure it out. Like, whatever.
Kind of like when you guys put Doug Martin at nickel, for a second, where they're just like, this guy's so good, we got to put him somewhere.
We can't have these guys hanging out on the sideline. Like, they got to do something.
And then I'll never forget his first 2 plays. He came in screaming, and everyone was like, he's gonna hurt somebody. Pretty sure he just took out the entire offensive line.
I think that's the other thing all you guys probably appreciate is how good of players you played with. Not just the guys that are in the NFL or whatever, but different guys. Like you mentioned Clayton.
Dave touched on it. I mean, just every day of practice, good on good. Like, you're getting better whether you wanted to or not, because you didn't have a choice.
Good on good.
Either that, or you can hang out on the sideline with Coach Pitt.
Yeah,
no one wants to do that.
How many fights came out of that?
None. No fights. Remember when Coach would have guys hold hands and take a lap? Everyone would laugh at him. Yeah, there was a lot of
tight ends never held, and they never blocked.
No fights ever.
And nothing. So
Didn't
no fights ever happen each period, but every 2 periods I'd be at least
I can't think of a practice where there wasn't a fight.
At least.
But you mend it and you move on.
Maybe Friday.
Fridays maybe.
Fridays maybe.
Because everyone was happy.
Everyone's in shorts and t-shirts.
Everyone's in shorts, because we're both on.
You're on air.
And shoot, correct me if I'm wrong. So when you're doing one-ons, when you're doing triangle drill, when you're doing everything else against the tight end, it's not necessarily about winning the play. You got to dominate the play
Right on
because
the line.
it's going to be on film the next
Buddy,
day.
everyone's watching it.
It's going to be on film the next
You're
day.
either
So
gonna
you
get
can't-
exposed.
He might show
You
up
cannot get
just on
exposed.
repeat.
It's gonna
Somebody's
show
meeting
up on
room.
repeat.
It will, yeah, for
if
sure.
you get put on your back, it is going to be in film,
Man, you can't let that happen on tape.
And then
You guys would all go into each other's meeting room.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Pull up the next day like
Team meetings.
So did
remember
you
Coach
show
P
what's
would
his
bring it
name and put
Oh,
up his
team
back?
meeting. A couple of his team meetings, like, hey, you got to put this up there.
100%. You
man.
call an effort play, but we called it a late hit. It's all good. Potato. But no, when you go good against good, you only get better when you go in against guys like Shoe, Putt, and freaking Richie Bronco
And that,
Brad Lau.
Gets you better, buddy.
yeah.
No doubt. Brad Lau.
Brad Lau, if he ever runs out of options career-wise, he can always go as the Incredible Hulk, right?
There's nothing better than being a linebacker and going against Brad Lau. For anyone that doesn't know Brad Lau, his muscles had muscles, and dude benched like 500 or something pounds. Like he benched more than most people squat, and nothing was worth being a linebacker. Hearing the play across the thing like 24 lead, you're like, damn. I gotta take that on.
We got smart one game. We were like, hey, let's put a tailback on the goal.
Yeah.
He scored 5 touchdowns.
100%. I didn't care if we were in shorts. I'm cutting Brad Lau.
David, Michael Adams wants to know if you think you could take down Ashton Genty when you were playing.
Absolutely not. Genty, shout out to Genty. What that guy is doing right now is unbelievable. And trust me, like I got the opportunity to go against all the greats. I mean, I got to see the Lee Marks of the world, the Ian Johnsons, the Carters, the Doug Martins. I mean, it just goes down and down and down. What that guy's doing right now, I was like, he had to have done some kind of, his balance is honestly something I've never seen.
Yeah.
Like
He gets better after contact.
he gets better. And in between last year and this year, he made this jump that was like, I'm the man. Yeah. Like the guy, his explosion, he's got the speed to go long, he's got the toughness to go short, he's got every single thing. And then on top of that, we also got a couple guys behind him too that are
Oh, yeah.
Even
T. Crow.
Everybody.
You saw his celebration when he scored?
Running back nation over here.
Dude, it's insane.
Dang.
It's great. Feel at work, by the way. That
Yeah.
celebration, man. Guys,
That was huge. He's been practicing that for a while. That was ready to go.
But yeah, no, if I saw him in the A gap, I think I would be able to tackle him like one time.
Yeah. It was when I played with
Not probably not, but I just, for my self-confidence, I would say yeah.
when we played with them last year, it was like I remember I missed a block on the inside and I looked back and he just ran him over and kept going. And from film on, they're like, if you miss a block, just keep going. Try to
get the
find
next
something
guy.
because he'll be right behind you. You don't have to worry about it. It's insane.
Get the next guy.
Yeah, it made us look good. That's for
Shout
sure.
out to
And
Ashton.
that's one of
He's
those
killing it.
things, like just the confidence that starts happening on offense, right? Like, hey, I don't know what's going to happen, but just keep playing.
Yeah.
Because something great might happen. And,
Yeah.
100%.
you watch that first touchdown run, he bounces off like 5 or 6 guys.
That was crazy.
I mean,
That was
Come on, man.
but he's so fun to watch because not only does he not get tackled, but then at some point he just explodes and he's like at full speed. And that's where all those big plays come from because he leaves all the trash behind.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a game of momentum. He's changing games.
Yeah.
for sure. Definitely.
and he's so patient, waiting for his
And then
blocks.
hits
When he hits it. Top end speed.
My favorite one was when he hit, like, I want to say he broke 5 tackles. My wife and I were watching the game. We're trying to rewind, watch him replay and count tackles. 5 tackles and then dives in for the score. Like, come on.
Oh, it's
If you're
legit.
doing that, you're doing something
It's
different.
legit.
Man.
That first touchdown, we were on the sideline for alumni go down there watch, and usually they usher you out before the first drive, and it was so fast. We got to watch it down there, and it was legit. My brother was like, "You played, like, why are you more excited right now?" I was like, "Dude,
different.
watching it from
It's
this angle and
different,
seeing it it was legit."
I think the other thing that a lot of people probably don't talk about him, and I don't know him on a personal level, but I will say that from the coaches who I know very closely with, from players who know him, it's nice to see him doing what he's doing, and not one person have anything bad to say about him.
Not one.
They
Great
say
dude.
he is about ball.
Mhm.
He gets in there, he gets it done, and man,
You know what I
Love
love?
it.
Did you watch the post game presser? He said something. You know, he could have been like, "Hey, I'm the man. I've been scoring all these points, running all these yards." He deflected all the glory. You know, and the O line's showing up, doing the thing.
Legit.
100%.
And like the NIL world, like we always talk about, like, is that now that he's getting paid, is that going to cause a rift in the locker room? You didn't even bring it up. You couldn't even tell. Besides, he
No.
wears a different pair of shoes all the time. But it's like other than that, he doesn't talk about it. He's like one of the most. Come on. But he's just one of the most humble dudes ever. And like you said, he just deflects praise, and you're like, that's legit.
Speaking of NIL, somebody asked who would have been the best guy for NIL era
Oh, that's a good
back in your guys' days.
We already got that rundown.
Well, it'd be kind of crazy. I would say for sure, on a grand scheme of things, Ian Johnson.
Can we just get him paid for those knitted beanies?
Yeah, because I'll say this: I lived with Ian when he was knitting in the living room, and I was just like,
Or in the meeting room.
in the meeting room, and you know, back then, like
He's like,
if the NIL was around, well, I would say if the NIL was around these days, like Ian be knitting them, and I'd be brokering them. You know, I'd have those things on our website.
And there's a couple other guys out there that are very entrepreneur. Alex Guerrero would have certainly something going. Who else? I had Zabransky. He'd have something going on. Like, there's plenty of guys.
I mean, I remember even with Ian. I mean, I live with Ian, good friend of mine, my insurance agent. Shout out to Ian Johnson too. I even cut his hair before the game because you know I kept the clippers. Got to keep the line in tight.
Got to.
And didn't bring up anything about the proposal or anything else. And I remember after he did, I was like, "You could even told me? Come on, man." I thought we were better. Than that. I thought we were closer.
Did he say that was a plan, or it was
No,
just spur of the moment?
No, I think it was
never
totally
said
spur of the
no.
moment.
Yeah, that's
Totally
That's crazy.
Well, I'm an outsider. I moved here after that happened, but a lot of people say that like players on the team got mad about the proposal and all that because it took away from you guys from the game. What's the backstory on all that?
No.
No.
Were there any guys that were mad? You guys obviously weren't.
Let's be honest with the proposal. It even put us on a bigger stage. You know what I mean? It's like Cinderella, story plus the greatest game
Rom com.
It's like literally it's like a rom com thing.
If there were guys mad about it, we didn't hear about it.
Okay, good. I've always heard that some of the players were
That's
mad.
one of those things that I always feel like there's rumors like outside the locker room that everybody inside the locker room's like, whether it's that or what, quarterback or whatever. I mean, like, really? Like where are you hearing that?
Shoot, I love Ian. I lived with him at the time, and I didn't even know he had got engaged until we got back to the hotel.
Also true, yeah.
At the time, we won the game. I was just like, wow. All right.
I just think that's funny. Like there's always a lot of the locker room and the team and all that is sacred, right? And there's a lot of stuff that happens that never makes it outside.
Oh yeah.
And there's a lot of stuff that people say that happened that everybody inside's
Never
like
really
that never happened either. So anytime you're dealing with 120 guys, are there days when number 117 and number 43 aren't getting along? Like, yeah, I mean that happens, but at the end of the day, are everybody family in there?
Yeah.
Like,
People ask all the time, Reed, that you said that. People ask all the time, do you miss football? And I tell people all the time, I don't necessarily miss football, but I do miss the camaraderie, and I miss the locker room, and I miss all that other things underneath the sun because A, it was pure comedy. B, it was your oh my God, those are the stories that we actually can't tell.
Derek, we do have a question for you.
What do we got?
Derek, they want to know about the time you were a rookie fullback and faced off against Ray Lewis.
Okay. Who is this? Who asked this question? You know?
Shane 3EB.
Shane 3EB. Okay. Yeah. So my first play, I forget what week it was, but they brought me in at fullback because the guy went down and it was draw 20 Mike. So if you guys know like a classic draw play, shuffle downhill, the Mike linebacker. And so I break the huddle and I'm lined up. I look across and it's Ray Lewis. And I'm like, oh, boy, here we go. So I'm blowing snot bubbles before the play. And I hit it downhill fast. And he actually tried to olay me. So it wasn't even a big hit at all. So technically I win because I broke to the side. But forever I can be like, my first play was against Ray Lewis.
Love it.
But I was a little anxious at the point.
What was
He was at the end of
he
his
probably
career. It
saw
was a
the
different
young
Ray
buck.
Lewis.
Yeah, he saw like foam frothing out of his mouth.
Bubbles were going.
Was like,
man.
I don't need this.
Bloodshot eyes. Like, I don't need that in my life. So he took the business decision and
went around.
That's smart.
Yeah, at that point, I don't even know.
Josh wants to know for all four of you guys, what's the most underrated position on a team?
Question.
I would say holder. No one gives a holder any credit. If you mess that up on an extra point,
Yeah.
no one ever gives them any. They just assume it's a good.
I'll just say this: forever we had a saying, "Bus doesn't leave without the long snapper."
Yeah.
So,
Like Danny Cantrell and
That's a tough question.
Connor Riddle he played receiver, Coach Ridd's son, and he was the best holder I've ever seen. Like talking about pulling up
Making it
videos
right.
in the team room, we would pull him up all the time because at practice or in the games, he was making crazy catches, getting it down. He was
It's got to
one
be
of the
something.
greats.
I was gonna
Especially-
I was gonna say center.
I was thinking
Okay.
center
I
too.
mean, because center, you literally touch the ball and you can do a perfect snap every single
Yeah.
game, but one bad snap. Yeah,
Yep.
it's like,
no one
oh
knows who
my-
the holder is though. And then the one time they mess it up, but
same
everybody.
with the
knows,
snapper.
right?
I would say,
And
you know,
they're the QB of the O-line.
those two guys kind of go together. But yeah, the center. Anytime, I mean, think about Zach Holmes stepping in
dude, awesome.
seamlessly so far. I mean, that's been freaking awesome.
This Shane guy must know you because he's got another. He says, now ask Derek about when he got cracked to the side of his head and came back to the huddle and couldn't hear anything.
You remember that game, the concussion game?
Yeah.
You ever seen the movie? I forget what movie it is, but it's 10-second Tommy. I basically was 10-second Tommy. I got hit in the side of the head, and I still don't remember that day.
Yeah.
That's,
Football's a different time now.
different
right?
game. Man. Yeah.
Well,
Shout out
We should ask
Shane.
you about Crush
No. Oh,
because somebody else got concussed when Shoe hit him.
It happens. It happens. Casualty of war.
I know we missed Crush. My
Yeah.
freshman year we had it in, and then it finally got phased out because we couldn't do it anymore.
You win some and you lose some.
Yeah.
Hopefully, you just win more than you lose.
We should ask DC about that last week because the one where he set him up and he waved at the guy and allows the original.
Oh, yeah. You try to give him the heads up. Yeah.
Hey.
Man, took him right out.
By the way, Chris said that Oklahoma game, I went from pissed off to happy to pissed off so quick, so many times it reminds me of my wife nowadays.
back and forth, back and forth.
Good luck.
They're asking about Derek Schouman's Eagle High days.
Come on, man. I'm a proud Eagle alum.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, my junior year, we actually really good. I think we were like regionally ranked or something.
Yeah.
Coach Choate, shout out, buddy. He recruited me heavily to Utah State, and I turned him down, thankfully.
Eagle,
yeah, we had a good team, man.
Yeah, Eagles.
John
rolling again.
Hellmandaller, Donnie Heck, a bunch of good players, Royal Gill.
You guys had a lot of guys on your team.
It was a
that
good
went to
team,
Boise
man.
State,
Yeah, we
right?
pretty much killed everybody that year. And
A lot of good players this year too. They're tearing it up.
well.
Ben
Eagle,
Ford too.
Rocky,
Eagle
Ben
alum.
Ford,
He's
yeah.
playing a lot. He had a
Jeb-
rim block this
Jeb
year.
was an Eagle
I'm in a
guy.
Hicks area now, but go Mountain View because my son's in the feeder program. So that's
There you go.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice,
Jake wants to know for you guys your best Kent Riddle story.
Oh God.
good.
I can't give you one single story, but Rid, everybody loved Rid. Nobody doesn't like Coach.
Yeah,
So a lot of people don't know this.
The
Me
best.
and Rid,
We go back ways.
we go back away. I tell
I'm gonna say this.
How do I say it? So I tell people a lot of times, anytime I introduce Rid to anybody, no matter where we're at, I say, this is the reason why I'm here right now. Let's just make it. Because when I first came in as a running back / linebacker, and Rid was the running back recruit. And everyone always, when you're going through your recruiting phase, finds someone that they attach to that they're like, this is my guy. This is the reason I'm coming here. And that was him. And so I will say this, if it was not for him, I would not be here for you. Appreciate you, baby.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate all you guys. This is like this is fun for me to still be connected with all you guys, get a chance to get everybody around here. But yeah, my favorite Dave Shields story he had graduated. He's got his company up and running. I forget who we're getting ready to play, but it's, like it's a night game. My wife's out of town for, I can't even remember why. We've got I think it was volleyball actually. And we've got a dog. He was at the end of his time frame. And I wake up and he has had issues. And there is crap, literal crap, all over, like everything.
Call the janitor.
I call my wife.
Call up
she's
the janitor.
She's like, I'm calling Dave. Dave had like a crew over at the house, like cleaning things like in an hour. I'm like, you talk about saving a guy's life.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
That's awesome.
yeah. And I say that not as my favorite actual, like being around Dave's story. We have plenty of those, but just the kind of person he is, like that, and Shu, I think about Shu, literally like leaving the office at 1 a.m, and Shu's like, no, I'll be here for a little bit. I got this. Go get a quick pump in, and then go back up and keep working for like 2 more hours. It'll be like, Shu, like, what time did you get out of here? He's like, oh, like 3. I'm like, well, it's 6 now. So
Lots of coffee.
My favorite Red story is after my amazing embarrassing story where I dislocated my shoulder doing just the bar. I get surgery. I'm in the dorms, and I didn't quite realize that even if you get hurt, you still need to come to practice and stuff. So Red calls me. It's like 3 days later. He's like, bro, you gonna show up to practice or what? I was like, but I'm hurt. It's like, it doesn't matter if you're hurt. You still need to come to practice. I was like, oh, okay.
I get stories on all these, like Riley. My favorite, I don't know if it's my favorite Riley story, but the one that stands out the most is, he's been a quarterback for the whole time he's here. And, again, it came down to a little bit like we're talking about Doug Martin. Like, hey, this dude's standing over there on the sideline. Like, surely we can find some way he can help. Like, hey, how about you just line up here and rip it down the middle of the field? Riley's like, yeah, cool. And like a week later, he's like, can we work on blocking? Like, now we're talking.
We can't come to the dark side.
But
that was a fun transition because it was like we would do routes on air, and I would throw a couple and then go run a couple, and then I became boys with like super close with all the tight ends, and I was like, I want to be in this room. This room is
Where it's at, the best position.
because I was like, even in meeting rooms, like the QB meeting room, we'd walk in, Coach Hill, and then Harsin was always in there, so it was like taking notes the whole time, stressful. And then I go to Rid's meeting room, and I'm like, this is awful.
Yeah.
Like
They're playing Nintendo 64.
What are you saying, man? No, we're getting our work done, but it was like, I remember I'd use the bathroom, and I raised my hand, and I was like, can I go to the bathroom? He's like, what the hell? Just go. Like, it was like, I was like, this is so different. Yeah, like, this is a different world for me. But it was sick. Those meetings were awesome because, like you said, it was like
professionals.
we would
right?
get it all done. Yeah, we would do what we need to do, but it was a great time, and those were some of my favorite
Well, it also made it easy, the fact that the tight ends always showed up like half an hour early for meetings, so we had a lot of extra time.
No doubt.
Non-Fiesta Bowl, what was your guys' favorite game? Somebody's asking.
John, go back to 03 bowl game. That
was awesome. That Fort Worth Bowl
can't
was,
forget it.
yeah, it was.
Favorite game.
A lot of ups and downs, competitive.
Yeah, that was a hell of a game.
Tough one. I'm over here like
Come on,
going through my head right now.
While you're thinking about it, somebody else asked about the Idaho rivalry and not playing them again. Would you like to see them start playing them again?
So much.
Yeah, I think it's just fun for the state, but
Yeah,
that's what it is right now.
If I'm Boise State, I wouldn't. I mean,
rather do that than Portland
Boise State, there's no real gain. But even though Idaho is turning their program around and great for them, but
Coach Plow with the big win over UC Davis,
Yeah.
at UC Davis with the win over Idaho, that was huge last
They're
week.
top 10 now, number 9, I think. UC Davis,
Yeah,
I feel like you had to, in order to truly understand the rivalry, you had to kind of be there, have all the old guys come back and like tell the stories of going 15 years without winning a game and everything
Pre-game
else.
speeches.
The
Coach talking about
the Vandals were the best.
Justin legs broke.
Oh yeah,
Winston Venables got a couple good Idaho stories up there with the helmet cracking in the shower or whatever. I forget which year that was. But.
Nothing better with the Vandals than running out there and Ellis and Doug taking the hammer and Jaws in the middle, in the center, just boom. Oh my God.
The clip of Doug Martin reenacting that is part of our intro, actually.
Yeah.
Doug has the hammer, and he comes out on the show one time and did the reenactment of that. Yeah.
I believe might have been Gabe Linehan did it like later, like the next time up there. Scooter was coaching the tight ends. He was like, just don't do it, don't do it, don't do it.
When I was when I was at the Kirby Dome, I don't know what was in there. It's probably the insulation from the 70-year-old building, but I was allergic to something, so I was chugging Benadryl for the up to 45 minutes up until the game, just trying to figure out why am I breaking out in hives.
Yeah. It's mental warfare. They gotta ever know what they're doing. That's awesome. We still got like the trash cans in there. They all have the Vandals logo on there. So the rivalry's still there deep. It would be sweet
to me. That's like a cool thing for the fans. I just don't know that
Boise State has nothing to gain right now.
Zero. And even if like the 1AA thing probably has as much to do with like availability as anything else.
Yeah.
And I'm sure all the Idaho people will say like, Idaho will make it happen. Like, yeah, I get that, but
the very first question, like 90 minutes ago, was about your guys' thoughts on the Pac-12 and Boise State joining that and just that whole deal.
It's awesome. A lot of fun. And I would assume we're not done with that yet, but I would also assume at this point you've got lawyers involved. We're not going to hear anything until we hear anything. So
Between the TV contracts, and excited to see who else also joins that conference. It'll definitely be interesting to kind of see, because a lot of those teams also are from the Mountain West, and they got a couple other ones from the Pac-12.
Yeah,
and so
you got some all the way across the country.
Oh
and some of that stuff. So, however it ends up, it's going to be a great deal for.
Riley, there's a question about CJ Tiller coming back to town with Utah State this week. Best CJ Tiller story.
That's my guy. He lived with us for a little bit, and no, CJ was the man. He's a kind of shy kid, but he's hilarious though when he starts talking. And I don't necessarily have one good story about him, but he was a good roommate, that's for sure. And he was always
good
fun.
Player.
Yeah,
thrown in a tough situation and try to make the most of it.
And he was the best too. He would have, I don't know how he made this connection, some type of NIL deal, but he would have a barber pull up to our house and brought a chair, everything, and the dude would just cut our whole house. And I was like, CJ, you're the man. That was probably the best hookup ever. So that was big on CJ. So
somebody was asking, because they're 25-point favorites on Saturday, Boise State is. You guys had those games during the season where you're big-time favorites. Everyone's talking about you, whatever. Like, what's that like? You come off the big win against Washington State, and everyone expects you to win by 4 touchdowns on Saturday.
You better come ready to play, because I'm telling you right now, Utah State's coaches are using that for fuel for the fire. I mean, there is nothing better as a coach probably going into a game being the underdog. There's because you don't need to amp up your guys. Nah. It's like they think nothing of you. They think you're going to lose by 25 points. Go out there and show them. So I hope our guys come out ready to play, which I'm sure they are. I hope that our fans come out ready to cheer. Like, it's not going to be a 25.
There's obviously been games that we're big favorites in, and it started out tough, ended tough, whatever, but probably fewer here than most places because of what we talked about in practice and all. Like, you don't want to get embarrassed when the film comes on Sunday, and so guys, we'll be ready to play. And I think everybody else recognizes there's only so many opportunities to play, and there will be a bunch of guys hoping to play really well and have a really cool second half.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Nothing like hitting a couple plays after halftime and then sitting on the bench and cheering the team on. There's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that.
That was Coach D's first game as interim coach last year. At Utah State.
That was legit.
Yeah. No, we'll show up. We'll be ready to play. The atmosphere will help. Like that always helps. Sometimes when you're big favorites and you show up and the stadium's empty and some of that can drain you a little bit, but that's not going to be the case.
There was a question about what you guys would have thought if you got to have the football facility down there when you played. What were your facilities and things like in your locker room when you guys played? I mean, what do you got there?
Roll the
kind of archaic to all these guys, but back when we started, I mean, we had like duct tape benches in the weight room and DIY platforms, so it's come a long way.
I think the greatest, and I'm trying to figure out civil way to say this, but when I first came on, let's just say the showers were not the showers that they have right now.
That tree of life.
And we had the I will call them the genitalia whippers, in which you take a shower, but you had to take a shower like this because the water pressure was coming out at about 475 psi's, and you're just sitting there and you're taking there. And there was a couple showers,
Power washing.
there were a couple showers that were gentle, but all the seniors took those because they were just like, get out of here, freshmen. So you just kind of had to have your skin ripped off just slightly and exfoliate the hard way.
Oh yeah.
And nowadays you go and you see the facilities, you're just like,
Yeah.
that must be nice.
Yes, I
Oh,
You got cell phone chargers. You got the steam. You got the steam. You got
all the snacks, man. You remember you had to fight for those
Right.
you had to sneak one of those little milks.
Oh man,
Couldn't even get a little milk. Come on, man. After a workout,
we were fighting for that chocolate milk.
for that
Indoor
chocolate.
indoor cold tub.
Yeah,
Opposed
I
to
know. Potter always said you guys got a bagel, but you had to pay for the cream cheese.
I wasn't even to that point yet. We didn't even have
You want to
bagels.
talk about a pair of gloves? Like, what you had to do for a pair
Man,
of
you had to be
gloves
Dale's
back in
best
the day?
friend for a pair of gloves.
Dale Holsey, shout out to Dale.
Dale, I
But
love
boy,
you. Took
before
care
that
of me
Nike
always.
Elite deal, especially if you weren't a starter, I
No
mean,
chance,
you were
man.
damn near sewing up your own gloves, like the holes in the
Yeah,
glove.
Ian Johnson knitting them up.
Yeah, hey, Ian knitting them up in the background. Like, man, I got a hole on the index.
True
finger.
story.
It's funny though, because Garth Brooks came and performed here, and his dressing room was our locker room, so he just took it over. So I think a whole week during the summer, we went to the old locker room. Everyone was like, "What the hell?"
And even
going
that
on?
was redone.
What
Man. We
is
didn't even have it that good.
But it was cool. I was like, this is where it started. This is where it started. This is legit.
Men became men.
Yeah. We're soft.
The old locker room could tell some stories.
Oh, the old locker room stories. I mean, no one knew the pin to their locker. You would just hold the door, beat on it until it just popped open. Get your pump on the soap, to lather up, and. But no, it's so great to see like where we've come from to where we go, and then no matter what it is that happens, you want to see progress.
For sure.
There was a question about that. Just how much pride do you guys take in kind of setting the foundation, being one of those early teams that did what you did, and now you see where the program's at now. 21 in the country again, and going back to 2 more Fiesta Bowls after the first one. Like, what's the pride you guys take in helping lay that foundation?
So much. I mean, Darren, I'm sure Darren would say the same thing. To do what you did, to sacrifice what you sacrificed, if we still had the same facilities, if we still did all the same things, like, what was all that for? To lay the foundation, see things grow and see things progress. It's
I mean, it was there before us, right? Like we didn't.
Yeah.
Who's to say who started the foundation?
Oh, yeah.
But it wasn't about the facilities. Never was. It's about winning football games on the
Mhm.
and still hold that blue collar like mentality and just to keep coming out, showing up with the hard hat on and going out there and going to work.
Going to
man.
work,
You carry it on forever.
No doubt.
Oh yeah.
And we appreciate you guys because that foundation stays true every single year. That's what we talk about. It's like all the people that played before us, so it's never forgotten. So we appreciate you guys. No doubt.
Absolutely. That's probably a good one to wind it up on. And
Yeah.
but yeah, I hope everybody's everybody's watching, doing their best to get over to the game this week. It's gonna be a freaking awesome atmosphere again. Come by the James for the pregame, probably sometime in the 2:00 time frame. Jackson's tailgate over there. Make sure you stop by. Saw Shu over there last week. The atmosphere around here is awesome everywhere. Come be a part of it. Even if you don't have a ticket, come down here. Come down here. Jackson's tailgate a little bit. Watch the games wherever. So, but just keep the Broncos winning. They're in a good spot right now, and
keep it rolling.
they're playing really well, executing at a high level on both sides. All the people that after week 1 were worried about the defense, I'm not sure where they're at now, but they're probably still worrying about it, but whatever. Or they've moved on to worrying about something else, whatever. But yeah, I'm not even getting into that. But anyway, yeah, just excited. Thank you guys.
Yeah,
Thanks,
thank
Riley.
you. Yeah, seriously, this is legit, no doubt. We'll have to do it again. This is a good group for sure.
Yeah.
But
And thank you, Kate.
yeah,
She's getting a little chilly
Moral
over
support,
there.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Gotta get-
Street tacos. We're good. Doing okay.
No doubt.
And dessert.
Oh, perfect.
Nice.
Oh, we can stay and keep it going then. Awesome. Yeah, but appreciate you guys. We'll definitely have to link up at the tailgate for sure this weekend. But
Stop by for some chili.
yeah, no doubt.
Absolutely,
No
man.
doubt.
Go Broncos.
Yes, sir. Go Broncos.
Yeah. All right, let's get a big win against Utah State. We'll get back here for another Victory Tuesday.
Oh, yes, sir.
Sounds good.
Bronco Nation News is presented by RowPaint.com, Idaho Central Credit Union, Taco Bell, by Lithia Ford, The Blue and Orange Store, Western Collective, by Jackson's, Snake River Pool and Spa, Transportation Compliance Service, Bauscher Real Estate, Ridley's Family Markets, by Circa Las Vegas, Lean Feast, and by Timberstone Golf Course.